And I'm another member of the city council. I'm a member of the city council. I represent the 2nd and 3rd wards at large. And with regard to this resolution that needs to, I supported this resolution because all the terms are spelled out in the resolution. If you want a copy of the resolution, you can get it from the city website. I'm sure that the councilors from the 4th ward can give it to you. I can give it to you, so you can see what the terms are. If there are additional terms that anyone wants, that's when you can talk to Mr. Sanchez. But the reason we're here today really is to dispel misinformation and to let you understand. And I thought Mr. Sanchez did a good job of explaining, what's in the pilot agreement and what was with the housing contract. I think that it's a good deal. I think that these new owners, they do own thousands of units and they have an excellent reputation for management. The other thing is, they are not the owners yet, so they are under no obligation to do anything right now, because it would be like me buying, if I'm buying a house but I don't own the house, I'm not going to fix the house. Now they have been doing some management, assistance with, Trico I'm talking about with the current folks. But what I would like to say is that in terms of the upgrades and the improvements, the additional washers and dryers, the improvements to the sidewalks, the cameras, to make sure that the security cameras work well, that would be something that you could bring to the table. I think it's a very good deal. I supported it. Councilwoman Brown supported it, and Councilman Stork supported it. So we need more support to get this done. The buyers who are interested in taking over the property, they don't have to take it over. They could, conceivably walk away. They want to have their financing in place. The bank will not give them the financing to go forward with this deal unless that pilot is in place, from what I understand. Okay, so I think that, we've heard from you. It seems like you all are in support of Trico, this new management company, taking over and making the improvements. Do I have that right? No. Yeah, I mean, it's not I need to know who is Trico. So I'm sure that Mr. Sanchez, who came here tonight, he can give you additional information. Again, you can get a copy of the resolution so you can see what's in there right now. Okay? Mr. Sanchez?
Not right now, because we haven't.
No. Okay, I'll turn it over to Councilwoman Taylor.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I think that it is good. First of all, I thank you all for coming out tonight because you are interested in empowering yourselves. This is your homes and where you live. And so I want you to know that some of us did not vote for it. I don't want to tell you why. The same reason you have to not just say yes to everything somebody tells you. You don't say yes because we got to see it black and white. Let me tell you something. I was here 30 years ago. Some of you were my students. You know me. Okay? I was here 30 years ago. I know when they started this, what it was supposed to be, but 30 years later, we see the mess. And every now you see people blaming the housing authority versus them. I don't know who did something, but somebody did something wrong, didn't they? So since that happened, we are not going to be stupid again. And so as your representatives who came from this city with you and taught you and did everything else with y'all, we know that we're not going to be duped again. The only thing we ask for as the members of the council is that we want to see the deal. We also have some questions. If they didn't fix stuff 30 years ago, all the way up to now, you said you got holes and all that stuff. What happened? What happened to the zoning and the property violations that everybody, I know I get fined if I don't mow my lawn. So what happened to these people that they were allowed by Plainfield standards, hold up, to do this to the degree that they have done it? Now it looks like things are going to get better. I am not anti what they have said to us. It sounds really good to me too. Okay? But what sounds good is not always good. You gotta dot your I's and cross the T's. That's all the council is asking for. It does not have to take 5 months, okay? And you need to ask questions. We want to find out, let me say, now I'm not an expert in real estate law. If you didn't pay the bills, if you didn't fix the places like you should have been, you were not fined, or something didn't happen, because you should have been fined or they should have been shut down. Something should have happened. It didn't happen, mysteriously. So now, how can we assure? One of the ways you assure is that money is put aside to fix stuff. Because stuff breaks and all of that. Once they put your new stuff in there, it's going to get broken. Things need repair and maintenance. So we want to know, where is this money going to come from the new people? And that's not a bad thing to ask. And they probably have an answer. And so we say, okay, so don't say you now agree with whatever they said, the speaker before me. Don't agree with them. They're not even here. We don't know who they are. What we want to do is to ensure that this doesn't happen again. How do you ensure? They put money aside in escrow, in some kind of way, so we know that those things are going to be taken care of. That's what the kinds of questions that we're asking, okay? We're not trying to wait past the deadline and all of that. Yes, the council needs to come back together. We need to get more information. We need to ask some of the questions I asked. I'm listening to what you're saying. Because some of this is new to me. I didn't know people had to live like this. Well, why didn't somebody get fined before? That's my question. Well, what was the problem then? And now all of a sudden we're all concerned because the new people are taking over. Well, what happened to the old people? Why didn't they get fined? I want to know that because I would have got fined if I owned the house. Okay, all right.
Then they
See?
pick whatever unit that they wanted them to go into.
That's right.
They didn't eliminate the units that they wanted to already. They go right into the same unit instead of the units that they knew. The paperwork was getting thrown away. Work orders was getting thrown away. Oh, you don't know what's going on. They don't know how to do this. That work order, but then it was sending people back to the same parties that they went to the last time, going back into them again.
Okay, and wait, it's what over the dam now? You don't need to say nothing, because you leaving it and it's going to another place, right? Yes, ma'am. All right, I'll let you answer the question. I appreciate you, ma'am. Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I feel she has something to say, but anytime I come up with anything, she's helping.
This is Betsy?
That's right there.
Okay. All right, Betsy, go ahead.
I just want to speak really quick on the past management. And I think there are, how would you say, there are things in place to prevent the type of housing that you were subjected to. The property was never registered with DCA, with the state of New Jersey. With DCA, they are required to come out every 5 years and inspect your unit. They actually make sure everyone had to be held accountable. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. Housing authorities normally do not have to register with DCA. They do not have to. Where the mistake fell was, okay, housing authority normally does not have to if it's a housing authority property. Housing authority did not register a privately owned property that was managed. And that's where it fell through. That was where the loophole happened. So for 20 some odd years, you were never inspected by DCA. Therefore, the property was never maintained the way it should have been by code standards. Okay, so when we did come in and we went and we tried to find out the registration number, found out that it was never registered, you were bombarded with inspections. Before the original inspection, before we came in 2009, the REACT inspection, which was referenced, it received a 48, and that was just on the units alone. Okay, that's not with any other, health and safety things. With the unit inspection that was referenced in July, that they did receive a 57, and I will say I was there, and yes, it did happen. But the unit inspections were brought up to a 78, and that was the units. We lost point for life and safety. There was a couple things that we did miss. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. Howard walked in the inception. We had Ronald down, who was there. There was Al. There were some individuals that were there and knew the amount of work that was. And yes, I will say for Chanel, there had to be some patchwork because of the amount of work that was there and the time frame in which we had to try to turn it around to get it ready for the REACT inspection. Because if we failed another REACT inspection, the subsidies were jeopardized again. So there's a reason behind these things, but just know that going forward with a new owner and being registered with the state, you have those safeguards in place. Because if the state is involved, you're subject to fines. They will fine you if you don't make those repairs. For 26 years, they weren't subject to it because they never registered. So it could have been that, being that they managed and they're not used to that, I might have been a slip. It's very possible. I'm not here. But this is what happened. These are where those safeguards and those loopholes, this is where Liberty Village, I say, fell through the cracks. All right? We came in. I know a lot of the families. I was in your units. I've seen your apartments. Yes, we did try to. Yes, we did do some patchwork. I'm not going to say. Yes, Alice was there when Miss Webb was there. Alice made sure Miss Webb's apartment was cleaned out with the mold. The amount of water, the water bill was astronomical, and the sewage bill because of all the leaks in the building. Those have now since stopped. Everything has reduced because those were addressed. So please, I do understand your frustration. Trust me, I know. I know where the possibilities, where things had fell to the wayside, where Liberty Village was overlooked by where they should have been inspected. I get that. I understand. And I'm not saying that it was, housing authorities. There are safeguards. There are mechanisms in place to prevent that from happening again, as far as the living conditions. All right. So with that being said, I don't benefit from this at all. I tell you because I am out, and I love these folks. In the little bit of time that I have spent with you, okay, but I don't want to see them affected. I don't want to see them lose the pilot. Lose the subsidies because, again, unfortunately, because the sale of the property was to go through earlier in the year. Now, this is where the rush is coming in because of the fact that the time frame has expired. We don't have time to put in another contract or a hat contract or a submit one. So this one is, we're trying to work with what we have in place right now. What HUD has in their hands opposed to trying to submit. HUD has a shortage of employees. It takes 6 months to get something approved. It's not maybe longer. So this is why we're here to try to see if we can work this out.
We just want, can I say to you, I appreciate your heart.